of special education services is that the services will provide quality support that empowers our staff to implement best practices for our student learning, achievement, and personal growth. We do believe that every child is a person of dignity and worth. We believe in relationships with all of our stakeholders. We believe that all students can learn. We believe in high quality professional learning. Some of the successes we've had: we are presently implementing a progress monitoring program called iReady, and that is in all of our elementary and middle schools. We have provided a wide range of professional development opportunities this year, including managing crisis safely, which is the term that we use for our restraint training. And so far, since July 17th, we have actually trained 101 in the restraint training. We've provided iPads for students with severely of their age because sometimes they need the iPad rather than the laptop. We have hired a transition coach who is successfully going out to different companies and allowing our students to get work hours. We've provided transition services in our Project Search program that we started 3 years ago. And last year, the graduates who left our system last year, we have 100% employment for those students. We have offered workshops to parents and guardians of special needs students. We've updated a lot of the classrooms, gotten rid of a lot of old materials, and bought new materials for this school year. We've provided several webinar trainings, even from the State Department, for our staff. Our psychometrists normally just did intellectual evaluations, but this year they've also been doing achievement testing, which frees the teachers up so that they can spend more time teaching rather than testing. We have 100% compliance on all of our state timelines for the previous school year. And all of our students who are on the Essentials track or the Alabama Alternate Standards track, all of them are participating in community-based instruction, and I'm so happy about that.
Excuse me, what is community? Explain.
Community-based instruction is when the students actually leave the school and they go to a work site and they actually do the jobs. It might just be in a restaurant where they are sorting silverware and rolling it in the napkins, just different jobs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. As far as transportation, of course, the primary focus is to get our students to school on time. We have had a slight challenge in that area, but it's working out so much better. We transported 314 students in our previous year, and this school year 333 students are being transported by bus. This is a list of our 28 self-contained classrooms, so you can see where those classrooms are and how many classrooms we have. This does not include the behavior program. Special ed services have really increased over the past 5 years, and you can see how we started out with AIDS approximately in 11-12 school year, and we have increased due to mainly the students' disabilities, where we're trying to allow them to spend more time within the general setting rather than self-contained. And of course, because we are no longer in those areas where it's just two particular schools with most of our self-contained classrooms, then we do need more assistance.
So, Amy, we're going from about 151 aides to 250?
Yes, sir. Over the past 5 years.
So we're increasing.
So a lot more services for kids.
A lot more services for our students.
So are the Appleton special education aides, are they also receive that restraint?
Yes,
training?
they do.
Okay.
They do, and we have a record of everyone who has received the training. They received the training in two days, and but they have to renew it each year to continue to be certified in that area.
Amy,
Yes.
do you have, how are they, I guess the Appleton special education aides, how are they being trained? Is it on-the-job training? Is it?
Some of it is have to be personable when you're working with the students to make sure that what their needs are, they're specified.
Is their
But-
training the same as the Huntsville City Schools?
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's
Yes,
no
sir.
difference in terms of what the
No,
student
sir.
says?
We made sure that we collaborated in that area.
So the training that they get
It's the
is
same.
what our aides get
Yes,
here?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Managing crisis safely, along with other trainings about the different disabilities.
And the more services we're providing, we're reimbursed by the federal government, right?
No.
No, sir.
I know,
No.
I'm facetious. That's a joke.
Okay, and as you can see also, with our pre-K teachers, we've increased because we've had a lot more referrals in the area of pre-K. So we're getting our children in a lot earlier, starting at age 3. So this year we have 16 classes. Started out in earlier in 11, 12 with 12 classes. Our child count is due to the State Department on October 1 of each year. So you can see how back in 2011 we had 2302 was the number that was turned into the state on October 1. We had approximately a 50 student decrease the following year, but the numbers have been going up since that time. And the child count as of October 1, 2015, this year's 2389. But our numbers have gone up since then a little bit, and you'll see that a few minutes later. But you can see here our 16 pre-K special ed classrooms, where they are, how many are in each school, and who are the other feeder schools to go to those schools. We are serving presently a little over 2,400. It's actually 2,409 as of 10/29, which is 10% of our total school population, school system population. And you can see also what percentages, if you look to the right, you can see the percentages of the different disabilities.
Amy, do you know what it is nationwide, percentages?
Nationwide, as far as,
So like 10% of our students.
I think Alabama reimburses or provides financial support to the 5% level, right?
right,
So we have about twice the level that Alabama provides support
That's the
for here.
question. That's the
Yes.
question I was looking for.
okay, and you can see, this is just a graph where you can actually see that autism is 20% of our special ed population.
Ms. Sledge,
And you can see all the other disabilities and
Ms.
what
Sledge,
percentage.
the 30% is specific learning disabilities. Could you expand on that a little bit and
Okay, those
give an
are,
example?
okay, those are our students that we normally just say LD students. They might have a disability in reading or math. And those are students who are in the general population, taking all of the classes, general classes, as the other students are.
Would that include children with dyslexia?
Yes.
Ms.
Okay.
Ms. Wilder asked about dyslexia.
Yes, sir.
Is that in Alabama, is that a supported,
Well, it
Area?
will fall under the area of specific learning disabilities.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's how they're served.
Did they just pass a resolution to accept it? Because we were down there in Montgomery when they did that.
right? Did the state increase resourcing when they
No, sir.
expanded?
You know that
No.
No, sir.
You know that ain't
Right,
gonna happen.
right.
It's out.
No extra money. Our incidence of autism is higher in Huntsville City Schools than it is in any other system in Alabama. The CDC estimates that about 1 in 68 children have been identified with autism spectrum disorder, but in our system, there's 1 in 50 students with autism. The total number of students served in autism category is 478 in our system, but this does not include the few who might not have the exceptionality of autism. It might be other health impaired. So this number does not include those few. And as I stated earlier, that's 20% of our total special ed population. You can see here that we also serve 10 students who are actually in private schools, and these are some of the schools that we're serving, and we do get calls daily. We do evaluations. Sometimes some parents might elect not to receive the services, but right now that's a list of some of our private schools that we're serving.
And did the private
10
schools'
students.
parents pay for that? How is,
No, we do.
so Huntsville City School
Huntsville City.
staff go to the private schools
The
and
students come to
they,
us.
the students come to us?
Yes.
Why does it work that way?
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry.
When you take federal money, you take federal rules, and so we're responsible for a lot of services for children that don't actually come to our schools. So when people talk about public education, often they don't know anything about these services.
Apparently, I did not know that.
Right. So homeschool children are eligible, private school children, parochial school children, charter school children, if we had charter schools. The public school system
Is required to go
Right.
and,
Yes.
and then that money comes,
right,
that
from
funding
us.
is from our school system.
Correct.
Yes.
And since the federal government and the state don't provide much in the way of resourcing, it's based on local resources.
We don't have any
Really?
reimbursement for transportation?
No.
Okay.
And wasn't there a waiver we submitted a few years back as far as differentiating the amount of funding for special ed students
It was
based on
called-
the severity of their disability?
There was a waiver with regard to maintenance of effort under the Individuals with Disabilities Education. When you have a level of spending in a school system, you have to maintain that level or increase it. That leads to a lot of inefficiency. So, for example, the aides. An aide that's a Huntsville City School aide probably costs a third more, is that about right? Than an Appleton aide. And it's not that the services are a third better, it's the benefit package and the tenure. So if we have an aide who gains tenure, the child may have moved on, we'd no longer require the services of that aide, but we have to keep the aide because the aide's gotten tenure. So we had aides who were supposed to be working with big teenage boys and stuff, being able to lift them up and
Right.
things, and they couldn't even lift a book. So very inefficient system. So we've engineered our system so the money is focused on the children. We can provide the right aid at the right time with the right training, and that allows us to be much more efficient. Well, that's not something that's normally allowed for by the federal government, is being more efficient. So we had to go through a process with them to explain we've actually increased services while we've held costs constant as the federal government's reduced its resources that it's provided to us. And so it's transportation services, it's a whole range of things we do, where we just don't throw money at the problem. We think about how to provide the service efficiently and meet, so our aides have gone up from 150 to 250, but the spending didn't go up at the same rate. And the reason is we found better ways to provide the aides.
Okay, and this particular slide is our evaluations. We have referred 269 students as of October the 29th. So you can see where students are still being referred, and this is since the beginning of school. Some of these, I can't tell you tonight exactly how many have qualified because some of the eligibility meetings have not been held yet, but you can see that our numbers will still be going up.
Amy, what's the rate, has it been?